He's a prodigy, so he is followed the world over. In fact, when I was in my with KPMG Corporate Finance, we used to go, and then if there were always debates, because the other side was Ernst & Young or PwC at that point in time. So we used to say it's there in Damodaran, you can check. And then all the the noise levels would come down. Because what he has done in his book is collated the work of so many experts who have spent their lifetimes studying on particular subjects. Somebody has studied a particular subject followed a particular line of activity for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years. They've done so much of research. He used their work with reference. So, like I said, this book is more for a reference, and it's a celebrated book, right? So here are some guidelines. Some are from his book, some are with additives what we can add. But again, you can come out with your, as long as you can sort of defend it, you can come out with your intuitive way of valuing.
In some cases, the brand is attached to the ad people who are voting also.
Ad people?
The persons, the sports persons are those people who are ad brand ambassadors.
Yes, of course. They play a big part. Yes, they play a big part.
Is there any thing we have to divide that between the person who has coming? For example, even some directors are, I know some company has brought in a very big Bollywood actor to the board.
Yes.
Just to give the...
Onto the board?
Yes, yes. So, have I to give any reduction for this? Because that person is having more brand name rather than the company's product.
Yes, they put only Aishwarya.
But why would you give a reduction? You'd give a sort of enhancer, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to see the valuation is not directly or based on some value. We are going by the sale or some other financial.
No, you can go straight away by that. You see the cost approach. We have the selling and administrative advertisement expenses. You add that ambassador sort of expenses there, and use.
No, actually, my point is that if he just jumps from this brand to this company to the company.
No, I think generally when these terms are signed, for example, in that particular line of activity, they are supposed to not do for other competitors. If somebody is doing a Pepsi ad, they will not do a Coca-Cola ad. If they are doing a Vimal ad, they will not do for Ray & Taylor. That is there in the agreements. But I would say just to take,
particular period, 10 years.
No, even after the period there are clauses saying even after the contract is expiring, which is generally for 5 years, they'll say for the next 3 years you should not do it for this thing.
Yeah, that's why if it expires and someone else is there in that place or something like that, whether the same brand value will be there.
No, it's a good point. What I'm only trying to say is most often it is legally protected. Even after the term of the agreement, they would say even for the next 5 years or next 3 years, they should not work for a competitor brand. And by the time they even start working, the benefit itself gets expensed, amortized. We have used 20-25 years. You use 10 years. You use 5 years. Whatever is the term of that particular, if that is the most significant thing, and your contract term is 5 years plus 5 years, you use 10 years. Simple.
Till that time it is included in because he is.
It should, because that is a major contributor. Yeah. Now this is the 4 M's, as we call it. So men, money, machines, materials. Right? Of the 4 M's, 3 M's are represented on the balance sheet. 1 M is missing. Right? Money, cash in bank, marketable securities. Machines is plant and equipment. Inventory. What about the 4th M? Not there. Without 4 M's, no company can operate. At least till now. We are still ahead of, before the robotics age, where it will all be non-human. Sort of, we'll come to even that, for example.
Priceless.
Priceless. Now look at the number of approaches that are available just to value HR. In fact, a complete one full day workshop can be done on HR valuation. And the most widely followed model out of all these models is under the monetary value Levin-Schwartz model. Infosys also follows Levin-Schwartz model, by the way, right? To value its HR and bring it on its additional information sort of thing. Let's look at some dimensions of what we mean. Cost, I'm not going to spend more time because it's straightforward, historical cost, what you've been paying them, or replacement cost, how to hire new employees, train them and bring them to the same level of efficiency as your current staff, that's replacement cost. Standard cost, you have your standard cost. Once an employee joins, you know that he has to go through a 1 month induction, then he is doing on this test project, then he is getting from a probation period to permanent till the time whatever is the cost. It's a standard set of procedure. So you know these are the costs associated with manpower on a standard cost basis. Opportunity cost is where I thought sharing of some experience here is going to help, right? Look at this example. ABC Limited's target return on investment is 12%, and it has a capital base of 1 crore, but its profits are only 10 lakhs. It should have been 12 lakhs, right? Which is 2 lakhs short of the target. It is felt by the company that if it can acquire the services of a particular executive, its profit improves by 3 lakhs. The profits will be now 13 lakhs, 1 lakh more than the target itself. That 1 lakh excess, the more than the target, if it is capitalized at target ROI, comes to 8,33,000, and the unit can bid up to this amount for the services of this executive. What I'm trying to say is, so far as that particular department or that particular company for that matter is paying up to 8,33,000 to bring to what do we call, catch that employee from a competitor and bring to this company. In fact, even within the company, if the department feels that he should be working with us, they can go bidding. I mean, they don't go for bidding literally, but that's the premise of the opportunity cost of capital, right? Departments intra company can bid, companies intra industry can bid, and this is related to the key employee. They don't do this for all the employees, right? So to get the services of that company, how much, this is just an example, so you can get to a very high number, and that could be a key contributor of the HR value. And this is for, like, when you have people like Narayan Murthy, Steve Jobs, like Rahul Dheer of Ken India, who just left recently, Ravi Uppal, ABB. So those sort of people. It's one way of looking at.
Why the profit is 10 lakhs, so 12 lakhs they should go. So the 2 lakhs should be capitalized and they should get that employee for the 2 lakh capitalized.
In fact, I forgot to mention, it's a pertinent point. They can bid up to 8,33,000, but the maximum, if there is a cross bidding, others are participating, and you have to get that employee, you use the entire 3 lakhs. You use the entire 3 lakhs and capitalize. So in this case, the maximum that you can bid for will be around 25 lakhs or something, right? It's a good point. Beyond that, they should not bid. Not go for it. No, that's a good point. Yeah. So Levin-Schwartz model.
Yeah. To reduce the employees' cost
Sorry.
You have to pay the employee also.
No. This is not getting accounted anywhere. This is just to know from an opportunity cost point of view. It's not used anywhere. Nobody follows an opportunity cost of it. This is just for intuitive learning. This is more for decision making, financial decision making, on how to arrive at HR valuation from an opportunity cost perspective. If a person has got multiple talents, so many people would vie for his services.
His service.
In that case, what is the value of this key HR person? It's just that much. It is not for the entire company or not entire department. So Levin-Schwartz model, what it does is it takes the salaries and emoluments and remunerations of all their workforce. When I say all the workforce, not the laborers, skilled workforce, the salaries, the future projected salary, emoluments, expenditure is taken for the remaining working life of key individuals. Mark every word that I am making here. So you take your key employees in any company. Every employee has a different age, different salary. So you project from current year end till the age that person is going to retire, his estimated salaries, and then discount them back to the cash flows using the, mostly people are till now using the cost of capital. For the matter of presentation, I am saying use the cost of capital, discount it to the present value. That is the present value, and that is what is used by Infosys.
In LIC you have something human value index, like
It's for actuarial valuation.
that can be used.
Yeah, that can be used, but that is more for insuring and the group benefits and all that scheme. I don't know if you can.
In that also the lifetime.
Oh, you give them the projected salaries and all with, yeah, correct. So you can use those numbers. For us to value, that's a good source of information, correct. Yes. So this in figurative formula terms is what I have mentioned in, I think, simple terms, what it tends to do. So it goes from a person R years old to retirement age. So it goes up to capital T to retirement age, and sigma of all that is discounted.
This is not there in the Damodar.
This is not there in Damodar. Yes. But it's the most widely followed model for HR valuation.
Can you share this presentation?
No, that's what I've mentioned to. I'm writing a book on corporate intangible wealth, and this presentation, many of the slides are subject matter of that copyright. I'll not be able to share all of the slides, but what is relevant to the valuation part I can share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are in final syllabus.
No, this is fine. This is fine. All this is fine. But some of the slides which we have discussed earlier are not there anywhere, so I'll not be able to share the entire presentation. But this is relevant for you, of course. This is a very interesting model again. Now this is followed by, I think, BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals. Just have a look at the model, you will get an idea of what it's trying to do. It's doing the annual compensation into the number of employees, average annual compensation into the total number of employees. So P into 12, P is the average monthly remuneration, times 12 gives you the average annual per employee, into N gives you the total salary, into E is the efficiency factor. Out of that emolument, what is the efficiency factor? And I is the incremental factor. What they assume is after every 5 years, every employee will reduce in efficiency, and after every 5 years, the employee will get increment and they'll get promotion and incremental salaries. This is what they have assumed, and they sort of discounted by the weighted average cost of capital to arrive at their HR. This is another perspective of doing it, way of doing it. So in fact they were one of the first companies in India, I think somewhere in 75 or 80 early 80s or late 70s. BHEL, SAIL, MMTC, they already started valuing HR in those times. Infosys started for the first time I think in 95, 96, and the first valuation that Infosys did valued its HR at 200 crores. Infosys. Today incidentally the value of Infosys HR is
1 lakh crores.
1,25,000 crores. From 200 crores, the first HR valuation that they did, it's now more than 1 lakh crores. Now these are some metrics that are disclosed by various corporates. HR by total assets, by fixed assets, turnover by HR, some metrics used by them. HR by value added. There are some key developments in the field of HR which I thought will be better if we speak about. Like if you remember, we saw an approach which is non-monetary. So we saw cost, opportunity cost including that. We saw one of the monetary value which is 11 Schwogs.